How's everybody doing out there? This is another part of the th350 rebuild. I'm getting ready to take the pump apart here. So we're going to get a 1/2 inch socket. You want to be careful when you take this apart here. This lower half is going to drop down. So got to watch out for that. So the first thing we want to take off here is you want to take this thrust washer off. This comes right on off. Pull it straight on up. There's your thrust washer. It can only go on one way. It's got this end on here. That end goes right here. I'll show y'all when we reassemble it. So we'll set that over there. Then we're going to get a 1/2 inch socket and take these 5 bolts out. But before we do that, we're going to take and mark this, because this flange on here where it bolts on only goes on one way. So we're going to put a little mark up here. Line everything back up. Their pump, because their pump only goes one way too. So we'll line all that up. Put a mark on it. Makes it a lot easier putting it back together. And we'll take these 5 bolts out. Alright, so we got all these bolts loose. They're all the way out. You want to be careful when you loosen these up, because these bolts are under tension because of these springs under here. So we'll lift this off, and this is where you got to be careful. You don't want to lose any of these springs. And when you take this apart here, these pump halves will fall apart. So keep that in mind. So we'll carefully lift that off. Set it over there. Now we got all these springs, and next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a bag for them and put them in a bag. That way none of these get lost. So let's do that. Alright, so I got a bag here. And we're going to put all our springs in here, and I'm going to count them all out for y'all so y'all know how many goes back in. So here's one. The first one. There's the first one in there. Because you don't want to lose any of this stuff. This stuff's kind of getting hard to find now. Some of it's pretty easy and some of it's not too easy to find. So let's do that. That's the first one. I wish I could put you on a good spot here. Alright, so we're getting ready to pull our last spring out. This is number 30. This has 30 springs in it. So we're going to put this in our bag down here so we don't get lost. Let's zip this up real good and tight, because don't want to lose anything. And you got to be careful too. Both halves of this pump is separated, and you got to be careful. There's a little pivot in there, and there's a little spring in there. So when you lift this off, that will be under here.